Hello, dear students. Welcome to the second part of chapter 2 of Geography of class 9. The name of the chapter is Physical Features of India. This is the second part of the chapter. In the previous part, that was part number 1, we studied that how soils are formed. We studied about different physiographic divisions. We studied that we find different types of rocks. Some are very hard like marble, which has been used for making the Taj Mahal, and some are soft like soapstone, which is used in making talcum powder. We also studied that the color of soil varies from one place to another. Likewise, in Maharashtra, we find black soil and red soil both, but in Madhya Pradesh, we find red soil. It is because of the parent rock from where we get soil. Soil is formed with different processes. One of them is weathering, that is breaking up of rocks into small particles. Erosion, soil is eroded from one place to another by the mean of water and wind. After that, we studied about three plate boundaries, three types of movements: convergent, divergent, and transform. We also studied about Pangaea, the giant continent. We studied that northern part of that giant continent is called Angara land, and southern part of that giant continent is called Gondwana land. So, with the process of this folding and founding and volcanic activities, our subcontinent was formed, that is subcontinent Indian subcontinent was formed. After that, we studied about major physiographic divisions, in which we talked about Himalayan mountains and the northern plains. In Himalayan mountains, we talked about that what is the stretch of Himalaya from north to south and from west to east. We talked about Himadri, we talked about Himachal, we talked about Shivaliks. After that, we talked about Punjab Himalayas, we talked about Nepal Himalayas, we talked about Kumaon Himalayas, we talked about Assam Himalayas. Later on, we were discussing about the northern plains. What is the extent of northern plain? We discussed in that part. We discussed about different distributaries or the channels in the northern plain. We talked about the three parts, that is Punjab plain, Ganga plain, and Brahmaputra plain, and where does it lies. After that, variations in relief features in northern plains we discussed. On the basis of that, 4 regions were considered: Bhabar, Khadar, Bhangar. These 4 we discussed. What we discussed? Bhabar, we discussed about Bhangar, we discussed about Khadar, and we discussed about Tarai. Now in this part, we are going to discuss about the Peninsular Plateau. Peninsular Plateau. So first of all, you need to know what is a plateau. Plateau is a flat table land. Tibet is the highest plateau of the world. So plateau is a flat table land. Now Peninsular Plateau. Peninsular Plateau is a part of Gondwana land. Now, let us, before discussing the peninsular plateau, let us see the three parts of plateaus here. Number one, you can see here is Central Highlands. Number two, you can see Deccan Plateau. And number three, you can see Chota Nagpur Plateau. If and again some doubt is there, we can clear on the physical map of India. You can see Central Highlands. It lies between Aravallis and the Vindhya range and Chota Nagpur Plateau. And Deccan Plateau we can see between Western Ghats and Eastern Ghats is the Deccan Plateau. Now, first of all, let us discuss about plateau, peninsular plateau. It is also known as storehouse of minerals. The peninsular plateau is formed by igneous and metamorphic rocks due to volcanic activities. Major metallic minerals like iron ore and coal deposits are abundantly found in this region. Other non-metallic minerals like mica is also found in this region, making it structure of minerals of India, and that's why it is called storehouse of minerals. Now, let us discuss the first part, that is Central Highland. If I talk about Central Highland, it is a division of Peninsular Plateau. These highlands are made up of hard, igneous and metamorphic rocks. The old Aravalli range borders it in northwest, as you can see on the map. The Central Highland further consists of the Malwa Plateau in the west and Chota Nagpur region in the east. The eastward extension of the Malwa Plateau is known as Bundelkhand, eastward extension, and Bagelkhand in southern UP and northern Madhya Pradesh. The Malwa Plateau is drained by southern distributaries of Yamuna and the Ganga. Damodar River drains the Chota Nagpur Plateau. Damodar River, it drains in Chota Nagpur Plateau in Bay of Bengal. Now, let us study in more detail the part of Peninsular Plateau lying to the north of Narmada River, covering a major area of the Malwa Plateau, is known as Central Highlands. The extent of Central Highland is from Vindhyas to Aravallis. The slope of Central Highland is from southwest to northeast. The rivers Chambal, Sindh, Betwa and Kain flow are according to the slope of the plateau. The slope is towards the eastern side. The Central Highlands are wider in west and are narrower in east. The Chota Nagpur Plateau is the eastward extension of Central Highlands. Chota Nagpur Plateau is drained from Damodar River. Now, let us talk about the Deccan Plateau. The Deccan Plateau extends from river Narmada to the southern tip of the peninsular India. It is one of the oldest earth blocks and is made up of hard, igneous and metamorphic rocks. The Satpura range, northern Mahadev hills, Maikal range, etc. form its northern edge, eastern. The Western Ghat form its western edge, which is much steeper and higher than the eastern one. The plateau slopes gently towards east. That's why most of the river, they drain their water. The drainage system is in Bay of Bengal, which lies in east. The eastern edge is marked by Eastern Ghats, which is broken into small hills by river. Again, if some doubt is there, let us clear. Central Highlands. The Central Highland lies to the north of the Narmada River, It covers the major portion of Malwa Plateau. The river in this region flow from southwest to northeast, which indicates the slope of this region. It is wider in the west and narrower in the east. Bundelkhand, that is in UP, and Bagelkhand, north of Madhya Pradesh, mark the eastward extension of this plateau. The plateau further extends eastward into the Chota Nagpur Plateau. Now let us talk about Deccan Plateau. The Deccan Plateau lies to the south of the Narmada River. Highland was north of the Narmada River, Deccan Plateau south of the Narmada River. It is triangular in shape. The Satpura range makes its northern part, and the Mahadev, Kaimur Hills and Maikal range make its eastern part. The slope of Deccan Plateau is from west to east. It extends into the northeast, which encompasses Meghalaya, Karbi Anglong Plateau and North Catcher Hills. Garo, Khasi and Jaintia Hills are the prominent ranges starting from west to east. Again, I would like to make you see this figure very clearly, and where you can find in Deccan Plateau there is Western Ghat and Eastern Ghat. I hope it is visible to you. Western Ghat and Eastern Ghat, because after this we are going to discuss about Eastern and Western Ghats. Now, after discussing Central Highlands and Deccan Plateau, let us talk about the Eastern Ghats. Eastern Ghats. It is a wide and leveled plain. Coromandel coast receives rains from northeast monsoons. All the major peninsular rivers form a delta, making the land fertile. It is the eastern side. I am talking about Eastern Ghats. The Eastern Ghats stretch from Mahanadi Valley to Nilgiris from the south. The Eastern Ghats are discontinuous, means break is there, and are irregular and are dissected by reverse drainage into the Bay of Bengal. The average elevation is 600 meters. Now, if we talk about Western Ghats lie parallel to western coast. They are continuous and can be crossed through passes only. The Western Ghats are higher than Eastern Ghats. Their average elevation is 900 to 1600 meters. Let us recall again Western Ghat and the Eastern Ghat. They make the western and eastern edges of the Deccan Plateau. The average elevation of Western Ghat is 900 to 1600 meters compared to 600 meters in the case of Eastern Ghat. The Eastern Ghats stretch from Mahanadi Valley to the Nilgiris in the south. The Western Ghats cause oceanographic rains as they face rain-laden winds from south, means from west. From west, winds, they come from Arabian Sea, yes, and it causes rain. Now, let us talk about the Great Indian Desert. The Great Indian Desert. You can see on the figure desert, it is in Rajasthan, northwestern part of Rajasthan. The Indian desert lies towards the western margins of the Aravalli Hills, means above Aravalli Hills. It is an undulating sandy plain covered with sand dunes. Now, what are sand dunes? Sand dunes are formed because of flow of wind. It is a type of soil erosion where sand is deposited, and in which shape we can see crescent shaped dunes. Crescent moon. Have you seen crescent moon? They cover larger areas, but longitudinal dunes become more prominent near Indo-Pakistan boundary. If you visit Jaisalmer, you may go to see a group of Barkans. The Great Indian Desert is also known as Thar Desert, and is large arid region, means low rainfall is there. Arid region, low rainfall in the northwestern part of Indian subcontinent. And what is the area of this desert? With an area of more than 2 lakh square kilometer. It is the world's 9th largest subtropical desert. Let us recall some of the things. The Indian desert lies towards the western margin of the Aravalli Hills. This region gets scanty rainfall, means low rainfall, which is less than 150 millimeter in a year. Hence, the climate is arid and vegetation is scanty, very less. Arid region means low rainfall. Luni is the only large river, but some streams appear during rainy seasons. Only river is Luni. Crescent shaped dunes, sand dunes I told you about, with the flow of wind are found. They are abundant in this area. This is all about the Indian desert. Now, let us talk about coastal plains. You might have heard about sea beaches, going to Goa, you go to Kerala, you go to Pondicherry, you go to Puri in Odisha, Vishakhapatnam. Those are the coastal regions. Now, the coastal plains are divided into two parts: western coastal plains and eastern coastal plains. Western coastal plains are sandwiched, you understand sandwich? Bread. Between bread, potato is mashed in between. The same how the western coastal plains are sandwiched between Western Ghat and Arabian Sea. And eastern coastal plain, it is sandwiched between Eastern Ghats and Bay of Bengal. Now, first of all, let us discuss eastern coastal plain. It is a narrow plain. This part of the plain receives rainfall. We are discussing about eastern coastal plains. Eastern coastal plains. It is wide and leveled plain. Coromandel coast receives rains from northeast monsoon. All the major peninsular rivers form a delta by making the land fertile. It receives rain from northeast monsoons, means from Bay of Bengal. And all the major rivers form a delta, because already we have studied in plateau that it is slopes are towards eastern part. That's why deltas are there, and they make the land fertile because they carry with them alluvium and silt, which is deposited on the banks of the river. Now let us discuss about western coastal plains. If I talk about western coastal plains, it is a narrow plain, narrow. Eastern coastal plain was wider. Western coastal plain is narrower. This part of the plain receives rain from southwest monsoons, means from Arabian Sea. Narmada and Tapti rivers flow from it, forming estuaries. One more important thing to be noted, Narmada and Tapti are the only two rivers which drain their water in Arabian Sea. These are only two rivers in India. Although Satluj, Indus are also there, but they drain from Pakistan. Most of their part is in Pakistan. But if we talk about India, only two major rivers are there, Narmada and Tapti. Let us have some more information regarding the coastal plains. The peninsular plateau is flanked by a stretch of narrow coastal strips. They run along the Arabian Sea on the west and along the Bay of Bengal on the eastern part. The western coast, let us first of all discuss about the western coast. Where does it actually lies? Between Western Ghats and the Arabian Sea. It is divided into three sections. Kindly note it down. The Konkan, which comprises of Mumbai and Goa, makes the northern part. The Kannada plain makes the central part, and the Malabar coast makes the Malabar coast in Kerala. Means Mumbai and Goa is the Konkan plain. Konkan, what is the Konkan you call it? Acha. In the south, in Kerala, we call it Malabar coast, and the plain between Malabar and Konkan is called Kannad. Malabar in Kerala, Konkan in Mumbai and Goa, and between that is called Kannad plain. Now let us talk about western coastal plains. It is wider and level. It runs along the Bay of Bengal. It is divided into two parts. The northern part is called Northern Sarkars, where you can see in Odisha, West Bengal, that part is called Northern Sarkars. The southern part is called Coromandel coast, Tamil Nadu, Andhra Pradesh, that part is called your Coromandel coast. Extensive deltas are formed by large rivers like Mahanadi, Godavari, Kaveri. Now one famous lake is also there in Odisha. Chilika Lake is an important feature along the eastern coast. It is in eastern coast. Now let us talk about islands. Now what are islands? Islands. An island is a piece of land that is surrounded by water from all the sides. Is called an island. Now, if we talk about islands, first of all we need to look at the map where roughly you can locate Andaman and Nicobar Islands and Lakshadweep Islands. Now, first of all, let us talk about Lakshadweep Islands. These islands are in the Arabian Sea. You can see here the western part is Arabian Sea and eastern part is Andaman and Nicobar Islands. Now Lakshadweep Islands are in the Arabian Sea. Its area is 32 square kilometer, very small in size of course. The administrative headquarters of Lakshadweep is at Kavaratti Island. This group of islands is rich in terms of biodiversity. Biodiversity means flora and fauna. Now, if we talk about Andaman and Nicobar Islands, these are bigger in size and has more number of islands. This group of islands can be divided into two groups. The Andaman is in the north and the Nicobar is in the south, and these islands too have rich biodiversities. So in north it is Andaman and in south it is Nicobar. That's why we call the Andaman and Nicobar Islands. Now let us discuss in detail about the Lakshadweep Islands. These are also called coral islands. Lakshadweep are the coral islands of India as they are formed by coral deposits. Such islands are formed by the deposition of skeletons of microscopic species called coral polyps on the seabed. Such islands are formed by the deposition of skeletons of the microscopic species called coral polyps on the seabed. That's why these islands are called coral islands. They live only in shallow warm waters. Many of these islands are in ring shape or horseshoe. You have seen horseshoe? Called horseshoe shape, called atolls. These islands are located in the warm water of Arabian Sea. Now let us talk about Andaman and Nicobar Islands. It is believed that these islands are an elevated portion of submarine mountains in the Bay of Bengal. They are located on a submerged or submarine hill range and are probably formed by the volcanic eruption. Some of the volcanic mountains are still active over here. They are larger in size and are known for their variety of flora and fauna. Now let us again see Andaman and Nicobar Islands. These island groups are of great economic and strategic importance for the country also. If we talk about tourism, yes, it has a potential. Tourists come to this place. Security of the country, outer boundaries, sea, Bay of Bengal region is secured because of these island groups only. Trade, purpose of trade, yes, of course it is helpful for, these islands are helpful for trade purpose. To check the arms smuggling and smuggling of all natural resources, these island groups work as a checkpoint to check the arms smuggling and smuggling of all natural resources. And it is of great importance to have control over the Indian Ocean. Now, if we talk about Lakshadweep Islands, these are 36 coral islands. I told you why it is called coral island, because these islands are formed by the deposition of skeletons of microscopic species called coral polyps on the seabed. That's why these islands are called coral islands, and it comprises of 36 coral islands that constitute Lakshadweep Islands. Only 10 are inhabited and only 6 have been opened for tourism. Their total land area is 32 kilometers square. These islands form of coral deposits are called atolls. Atolls are circular or horseshoe shaped coral reefs. Now Lakshadweep. Kavaratti is the administrative headquarters of Lakshadweep Islands. Capital of Andaman and Nicobar, Port Blair. Capital of Lakshadweep Islands, Kavaratti, administrative headquarters. This land group has great diversity of flora and fauna. Here you can see the physical map of India, Eastern Ghat, Western Ghat, and a big thank you. But before that thank you, I would like to recall all the things which we have studied till now. So that let us recall what we have studied. Yes, we studied about the peninsular plateau. I told you what is a plateau. It is a flat table land. That is called a plateau. Now, peninsular plateau is divided into 3 parts: Central Highlands, Deccan Plateau, Chota Nagpur Plateau. I showed you the physical map of India in parts so that you can actually locate Central Highlands and the Deccan Plateau. After that, we discussed about the features of Central Highlands. We discussed about the features of Deccan Plateau. Again, we recalled both the things. After that, we went to Eastern Ghats and the Western Ghats. After that, we discussed about the Great Indian Desert. What is the area? What is the extension? What is position? Means world's 9th largest subtropical desert is here. After that, we discussed about the sand dunes. We discussed about the how much rainfall is there, why it is called arid zone, why it falls under arid zone. Luni is the only large river. After that, we discussed about coastal plains. In coastal plains, we discussed about western coastal plain and eastern coastal plain. I talked about the sand. They are sandwiched between Bay of Bengal and Eastern Ghats, that is eastern coastal plain, and sandwich the area which is sandwiched between Western Ghats and Arabian Sea is called western coastal plains. After that, we discussed in detail about the Konkan, the Kannada plain and the Malabar coast. We discussed that the Konkan plain lies near Mumbai and Goa. Malabar coast, it is in Kerala, the coast of Kerala. That part is called Malabar coast. And between Kerala and Mumbai and Goa, that place is called Kannada plains. Why Kannada? Because Karnataka is there. Part of Karnataka is called Kannada plain. Towards western coastal plain, eastern coastal plain, it is sandwiched between Bay of Bengal and Eastern Ghats, eastern coastal plains, and northern part means West Bengal and Odisha. That part and parts of Andhra Pradesh also, it is called northern Sarkars, whereas parts in which lies near in Tamil Nadu, it is called Coromandel coast. We also discuss that Chilika Lake is one of the important lake feature along with eastern coast. After that, we discussed about the island groups. What is an island? We discussed that a piece of land which is surrounded from water from all the sides is called the islands. After that, in a rough map, we located Andaman and Nicobar Islands and Lakshadweep Islands. After that, we studied some of the features of Lakshadweep and Andaman and Nicobar Islands. After that, we went for a detailed discussion about their importance. We discussed why Lakshadweep is called a coral island, the administrative office, total area, everything we discussed. After that, on the slide you can see the physical map of India, where you can find Aravallis, Vindhya, Deccan Plateau, Western Ghat, Eastern Ghat, Himalayas, everything you can see over here. And at last, a big thank you for listening to it. And one thing I would like to make you sure, students of class 9, that you have to make notes and keep on revising it, because it is this 2 chapters which I have taught you, that is India size and location and physical features of India. In both the 2 chapters, you need to locate, point out, understand and remember what are the things which we have learned. So you have to make a note out of it. Thank you and have a nice day.